Hello and welcome back to another Total Warhammer replay. We're playing Skaven versus Vampire Counts. Now, for those of you that don't know, haven't been around for a long time, this has been one of the hardest matchups in my opinion for Skaven. Because, for those of you that don't know, Skaven have possibly the worst leadership in the game. Like, basically, their best leadership, which is like, Storm Vermin, have like, 80 leadership. And basically slaves and everything else have like 30 leadership and possibly even worse than that. And, of course, if their lord's nearby, it makes a difference, but you get what I'm trying to say. So, basically, it was really hard for Skaven. But recently, with the Prophet and the Warlock update, Skaven have had a bit of a change now. The sort of meta of the Vampire Count and Skaven sort of matchup has sort of changed. But, I've been trying a different amount of builds. I've been trying, double Hell Pit. I've been trying loads of different stuff. And I'm going to go through today. I think I've cracked the code, or kind of cracked a really decent strategy. So in the front lines here, I've got two Plague Monks. Now these guys are anti-infantry, they're damage dealer, they have frenzy, okay? Now basically they'll take out pretty much anything like skeletons, zombies, crypt ghouls, anything like that. Plague Monks are just going to be absolutely terrific for taking those units out. Of course, Graveguard probably will take out Plague Monks because the Graveguard are armoured and these normal Plague Monks don't have much armour piercing, but still they'll put in a dent. Now behind them you've got Rat Ogres. Now the Rat Ogres on either side are looking for cavalry charges or black coaches or anything like that, because of course Rat Ogres have a bit of mass. They're going to be able to take out any sort of cavalry units or anything like that, that's coming around. Behind them, I've got 3 Storm Vermin with Halberds. Now, these guys are mandatory. For example, if you have things like, as I say, Black Coaches, yes again, Blood Knights, you really do need these Halberd units. We have got the Council Guard over here, of course, protecting the Council of 13. These guys, the Albino Storm Vermin, these guys, of course, provide that Guardian ability, which is really good for when you take Lords and Heroes, and I'll go into more detail about why this is really good, because, of course, basically, I've taken a Lord and a Hero, which is, very important to, buff that Guardian ability up. But, of course, they also have Unbreakable. So, basically, Fear and Terror does absolutely, jack shit to these guys, which is why they're so damn important. Over here, we do have the Blight Scab Play Pack. Now, these guys were added in the Prophet and Warlock DLC. And, as I said, I know I keep saying this, but the Council Guard and the Natabubo Sharpshooters and the Blight Scab Play Pack are such underlooked units, okay? These guys against Vampire Counts are mandatory, and basically it's because they are immune to psychology, of course. It means like, Fear and Terror, don't do anything to them, but it's because of this demagoguery. Now, this basically means that all units that are in radius of this become immune to psychology, which means they're immune to fear and terror. So basically, if you bunch up all your units next to these guys, they're not going to rout off. They are literally going to stay and fight to the end, which for Skaven is exactly what you want. So you can sort of see why these guys are so good. We do have a Hell Pit in here. Hell Pit, very, very good. Basically, take a Hell Pit because these guys have regen. Vampire Counts doesn't have access to many fire spells. They're anti-large. They can put in a decent work, and it's very hard, for the Vampire Counts to sort of get these units off. Of course, they are immune to psychology as well, which is really nice. And, yeah, they are just, of course they have Too Horrible to Die, which is always a nice ability. But, yeah. Now, as for my Lord, I've taken Tretch. Now, you may be thinking, why Tretch? Why do you take Tretch? He's completely, shit compared to, other Lords. But the thing is, Tretch is cheap as chips. When you walk into a fish and chip shops, he's your chips, He's gonna be, your really cheap Lord that you take. I could take Ikit Claw and spend an extra 2,000, coins on something that I just don't need. But the main reason you bring Tretch, in my opinion, is because of his stay here and I'll get help. Now, a lot of the times I've been going up against Vampire Counts, they use Spirit Leech against you, and they basically sit back and they Spirit Leech your Lord. But with Tretch, you can use the Scurry Away ability, or not Scurry Away, but Stay Here and I'll get help. And this basically gives him Stalk and Unstoppable, or not Unstoppable, Unspottable. Basically means that you can hide pretty much for ages and basically let all your other units basically do all the damage, and then of course you're still alive and ready to help. Of course you are anti-large as well, so of course if any units do try to charge at you, you can put in a decent work. Lastly though, and fuck me, don't underestimate this, okay? A Plague Priest. Now, a lot of people like bringing the Warlock Engineer because they have that sort of decaying ability. I'm not too sure what it's called. I'm sure somebody will know what it's called. But basically, in a long, grindy fight, which is Skaven versus Vampire Counts, you have this ability which basically is wearing down or sort of hurting all the Vampire Count units. But I thought bringing a Plague Priest is far better. Not because of Vermintide, not because of those abilities, but because of Plague. Now, if I have the picture, I will put it up. But Plague I played Vampire Counts versus Skaven once, and I got over 500 kills with Plague, which was insane. So now I always bring Plague in this matchup. But other than that, yeah, that is my build. Very, very nice. My opponent, he's got Skeleton Warriors, I think he's got Zombies, he's got Crypt Ghouls, he's got Skeleton Spearmen, you know, mixing this front line. I believe he has some Graveguard in the back here, some Graveguard in the back here, so pretty, you know, decent stuff. He then has a Black Coach, which of course was a meme, but recently actually is very, very good. Now, you know, armor piercing, anti-infantry, you know, can really be a problem if you let it sort of like get into your back and start causing problems. Can do a lot of damage. For my opponent's Lord, he does have Isabel von Karstein, of course, no Spirit Leech, which was very, very good for me. As soon as I saw that there was no Spirit Leech, I was really happy because, of course, Invocation of the Heck and Raise Dead, you know, pretty generic abilities. Maybe thought I was going to bring Rattling Gunners, but as I said, that won't be any useful to my opponent in this fight. He does have some Black Knights in the back here, anti-infantry, are going to do a lot of damage to, you know, things like Plague Monks. But over here, lastly, he does have some Crypt Ghouls in the back here. These are the Thesis of the Dusk, the Regiment of Renown ones. They can be Vanguard deployed, I believe. But yeah, they're kind of cool. They've got like a blue skin. But anyway, let's get right into this match. So basically, my plan was that we sort of have this little standoff here. Now, I was checking out what my opponent had. I noticed he had the Black Coach on there, so I prepared with my Rat Ogres over here and my Storm Vermin. Basically, what you do is you have your front line with the Plague Monks engaging, and you have your Halberds defending your back line from rear charges from things like, you know, Black Knights and stuff like that. But basically, we're sort of staring at each other at this point. I was kind of happy with that because basically, I'm just letting my Winds of Magic get up for my Plague Priest here. And we're just sort of staring at each other into each other's eye. You know, the chaos that is Skaven versus the Skeleton Wars. I did hear something in the forest, and I did see these Crypt Ghouls that did come out. My opponent tries to hide them from me again. Do they have Stalk? I don't think they do have Stalk, so I did notice them that they were there. But yeah, but basically, I thought, fuck this, I'll be the one to engage then. So I start engaging. We got Plague Monks and Rat Ogres fighting against Skeleton Warriors, which is going to be a complete wipe over for the Plague Monks. I was trying to get on the Spearman units here because, of course, you know, they're going to be really good at taking out my Hell Pit Abomination because they don't have a lot of armor. They're 50 armor, but still. But basically, we've engaged here. We got Storm Vermin fighting against Skeleton Warriors. We got the Blight Scab Plague Pack coming in, giving that immune to psychology to all these units here, so they're not routing off at all. Hell Pit is charging in, you know, and we just started this massive grind here. Now, the Black Coach does come in and start, you know, attacking Halberds, but this is exactly what I was hoping. Look at the damage we're already doing. Look at the Storm Vermin with Halberds. They are already almost taking it down to half HP. The Hell Pit is absolutely doing fine. We're just mucking up, and the first Plague goes down here. You know, using it on the Sternsman's Graveguard, which are taking so much damage. Look at their health drop. And should we look how many kills? 130 kills for the Plague Priest. Insane. I mean, incredible. Over here, the Hell Pit does start getting on these Corpse Carts as well, because of course the Corpse Carts are going to provide buffs. My opponent does have these Black Knights in the back here, but as I say, the Council Guard and these Storm Vermin with Halberds are waiting. We do use Vermintide here to sort of block that incoming charge here from those Black Knights. And basically, it's going really nice for me. The Blight Scab, of course, are providing that immune psychology to all these units nearby. Tretch is in there helping out with these Black Knights, doing some nice damage. And basically, the Hell Pit is, you know, he's got nothing to worry about. There's pretty much the only unit my opponent has is these Spearmen to take out the Hell Pit. And basically, they're getting molested. My opponent does charge in here and try to get them to my Plague, but I used the Scrying Stone here with that damage resistance on my Plague Priest. And we've got Tretch nearby to help out. Tretch gets a nice hit on Isabel, but of course, you know, Blood of Chalice and Invocation of the Heck is going to heal her up fine. The Crypt Ghouls do get in the back, but as I say, I've got the Blight Scab here. The Hell Pit's doing its work, and basically, I'm feeling really comfortable at this point. I know I don't have to worry. My Rat Ogres do rout, which is really unfortunate. Of course, they can. There is still a chance of them routing here, but they will fight a lot more with the Blight Scab. Another Plague going down here. I saw a big blob of Skeleton Warriors and Graveguard here. And we get another beautiful Plague. This one wasn't overcasted though, but we get some nice damage. Should we check how much the source was on to? 270, 280 kills. Almost 300 kills for the Plague Priest. That is insane. Like, that is absolutely insane. So yeah, as you can imagine, this is why I bring Plague now. We've got Storm Vermin with Halberds and Rat Ogres that have sort of finished up over here. I do believe another Zombies is being summoned here, but that's okay. I mean, they're getting summoned in Plague Monks and Plague Monk Sensor Bearers, which is completely fine. We are doing some really nice damage here. We are winning. We are basically taking out this Corpse Cart over here, which is really good. And basically the Help It is just doing work right now. It's basically almost on still, you know, full HP. Another indication the heck goes down. This is my opponent's, you know, little struggle here, trying to get everything back online. But as you can see, we still are doing really well. Bounce Power is completely going in my favour at this point. Tretch is absolutely fine. You know, he does try to get on my Plague Priest once again, but I use that damage resistance, and Tretch comes in. The Council Guard are coming in saying, nah, fuck off, that's our Plague Priest, we need him in here. And basically Isabel does start to fly away again. Storm Vermin are engaging once again into some Graveguard and Spearmen over here, but yeah, it is going really, really nice for me here, and I'm just being so confident at this point. Zombies do get summoned again in here, but let's say with the Rat Ogres and the Storm Vermin with Halberds and without a lot of armor piercing, my opponent's going to really struggle at taking out a lot of these units. Plague Priest is in there. I'm sort of saving up for this point for another, basically another Plague, but you know, Isabel von Carstein does come in. Tretch is coming in and it's like, nah, go away. You know, we don't want you in here. And, you know, of course, with that bonus versus large, you can actually do some nice damage to Isabel von Carstein. We have got some Plague Monks coming back in, taking out those Skeleton Spearmen. But as you can see, it's going really well. The Blight Scab have just paid their dues. Over 159 kills. I mean, it is insane. 153 kills for those Plague Monks. And my opponent does end up leaving. But don't worry, we actually get a rematch against him. Hello and welcome back. We're facing the same guy again here, which is kind of funny. I ran into him into multiplayer again, and basically right after that Skaven versus Vampire Counts match, and I thought, you know what? You know, let's play some Dwarfs. I haven't played some Dowie in a while, so I thought we'd give it a try. But basically, you know, we're in the Nekahara Desert here, facing against the Tomb Kings here, which is kind of fitting. But yeah, as for the build, this is a very, let me just say this right now, this is something that I'd never bring, but, you know, this is what happens when, you know, you lose, you win, you sort of try out different stuff, and that's what I was trying to do here. So, as for my lord, we have got Ungrin Iron Fist. I brought him because just in case my opponent brings, you know, things like War Sphinxes or, you know, big scary monsters that the Tomb Kings can bring, you know, I wanted to bring someone who could basically one-shot any of those units, which of course is why I've got Ungrin Iron Fist. He of course has all these beautiful, you know, abilities like Red Ruin, you know, armor piercing, and of course he does have the Axe of Dargo, which is, you know, burst versus large. I don't have to say anymore. Basically one-shots big scary monsters. We do have a Runesmith here. I mean, basically, I brought a Runesmith because I wanted to, you know, well, I wanted something that could, you know, buff up my troops with, you know, armor. I mean, basically, I'll basically say, the reason I brought the Rune of Oath and Steel is because I've gone for a very Slayer-heavy build here. Now, Slayers have no armor. So basically, bringing, you know, the Rune of Oath and Steel basically means that they're going to get, you know, pretty much some armor, which is really good for them since, you know, it basically means that they're going to be able to stay in combat a little bit longer. We've got the Rune of Negation, of course, Resistance. We do, of course, have the Rune of Wrath and Ruin, which is really good against, like, chariots and stuff like that, in case my opponent brings, like, you know, stuff to cycle charge me. And we've got the Hammer of Karak Draz, which is, of course, you know, minus a melee attack and stuff like that. But as I say, for my, you know, sort of main brunt of the army here, we have got 2 normal Slayers on either side, and we've got 2 Giant Slayers. Very, very risky, okay? You know, if my opponent brings anything like archers or, you know, Nekahara Horseman archers or anything like that, these guys are going to be shut down instantly because they have no armor. But of course, they are unbreakable, and basically they can put in real nice work in case my opponent brings things like War Sphinxes. We do have some Bugman's Rangers here as well. These guys were to protect the Gyrocopters that I've got flying around, just in case my opponent brings things like Carrions. You know, Bugman's Rangers are going to be able to, of course, shoot them down. Bugman's Rangers as well have really decent combat stats. So basically, if you guys put them off skirmish mode, these guys will just stand and basically, you know, fight decently and basically take out most stuff what's going to come from them. What's that ability they got there? Look at a beacon. Liquid Fortification. Oh, they have regen as well. I didn't even notice that. Obviously, they're drinking their grog and getting regen as well, which I didn't even know about that. I didn't know these guys had regen. But obviously, of course, a really powerful unit. In the front line here, though, we have gone extremely cheap. We've got miners with blasting charges. This is cheap as chips. Like, basically, this is cheap as you can get. Well, miners are cheaper, but these guys, I took these guys because, you know, things like Skeleton Warriors or, you know, Tomb Guard, they can put in a decent amount of work with those charges, but, you know, blasting charges, sorry, but as soon as they get hit or get into combat, they're basically going to die. Lastly, we have 2 Gyrocopters. Both have the Brimstone Gun, which are the anti-large variant. Of course, they do have those bombs as well. But basically, you know, these guys are going to help me take out any constructs or anything like that. As for my opponent, he has got a little Tomb Scorpion here right at the edge of the map. Fucking hell, excuse me. I didn't even notice this thing was here before, basically. But yeah, we've got a little Tomb Scorpion in here in the back. I mean, of course, my opponent thought just in case, you know, I'm corner camping or maybe corner camping behind here, the Tomb Scorpion was obviously going to be, you know, provide that role or something like that. But no, we don't play like a cheesy little twat and camp in the corner on a desert map. You know, I could have gone right to the back over there, but no. We go with the dwarf. This day, the dwarfs are bringing the fight to the Tomb Kings. But my opponent, he's got Skeleton Spearmen and Skeleton Warriors in the front line. He's got no Tomb Guard, which I'm really surprised about. No Tomb Guard at all. Very, very cheap, you know, front line. He then has 5 Skeleton Archers here. He does have the Blessed Legion of Fakata. Fask. But basically they have Armor Sundering, which is actually really good against dwarfs. So basically if he's shooting against some dwarf units and then the rest of them follow up, it's actually going to do really, really nice. He does have, and this was a really interesting build, and I actually really like this build, he does have High Queen Khalida. Now, High Queen Khalida does quite a few nice things. Of course, she's got poison attacks, but she's a duelist, which I really do like, because, of course, when I play dwarfs as, like, Skaven, I bring Queek Head Taker, because, of course, he's a duelist. And basically, the thing about Queen Khalida is that she has this ability right here, which is the Blessing of Asfa. I'm probably saying that wrong, but who gives a shit? But basically, this gives, you know, plus 15 missile damage, reload skill, and armor piercing missile damage to any nearby units. So basically, you can see what my opponent's trying to do here. He's got, you know, a Shabbaty Greatbow on either side. I believe he has the Chosen of the Gods over here as well. So you can sort of see what my opponent was getting at here. But with other than that, let's get right into this second, you know, game, this rematch between us. So basically, my plan here was like shit. You know, obviously I saw what my opponent was going to try and do here. You know, if I leave my gyrocopters in there, they're going to get absolutely, you know, shot down by those Chosen of the Gods of Shabbaty Greatbows. So I sort of fall them back here and wait for my other units to get right in. But basically my plan was that, you know, in the front line here, miners are going to be able to basically take out a lot of this front line with their blasting charges. And hopefully if we push through the front line, then maybe our Slayers can get into the back line and get on those, you know, juicy constructs. But I'm sort of looking at the moment for an opportunity with my gyrocopters. You know, I'm looking for a chance to get on those Shabbaty Greatbows, but they are pushing up. They are, of course, shooting in, and they do some serious damage. I mean, if they do hit me, you can see that that's like 400 HP gone right away from my gyrocopters. And of course, I have no healing. You know, I have no way of healing my gyrocopters. So basically, what damage is done is basically permanent at this point. So I've got to really be careful. I'm trying to juke out the Shabbaty Greatbow shots, but basically, as you can see, I'm not doing a great way of doing it. Of course, the Skeleton Archers do start shooting in here. I don't know why we start shooting at some Skeleton Warriors. I do fall them back here because I'm like, what the hell am I doing? But basically, my plan was either Slayers to get on, you know, the Chosen of the Gods, and basically then I can shut them down. But my opponent is reacting well. He's got some Spearmen here. I was trying to get through this little gap here maybe, but unfortunately it doesn't quite happen, and my opponent's Spearmen do catch onto my Slayers. But the thing is, Slayers are no pushover. They don't need armor piercing to take out these Spearmen, and basically, as you can see, the blasting charges are going off, doing some serious nice damage to all these you know, all these Skeleton Warriors here. A bit of friendly fire there on those Giant Slayers, but overall, we are doing some beautiful damage. Bugman's Rangers are shooting into those Skeleton Archers as well. I wanted to get them shot off. We do have the Rune Smith coming in here, buffing up nearby units, and Ungren Iron Fist in there taking out the King Nagesh's Scorpion Legion. But as you can see, my first gyrocopter has gone down, and these second ones aren't long to live. They are pretty much getting shot by all these archers here, and unfortunately, I basically don't even get the benefit of using these guys. They completely rout off, and I don't see them for the rest of the match, which is really unfortunate. You say, completely rout off. These gyrocopters, though, are doing a little bit better. We are starting to shoot at the Chosen of the Gods, which we are actually, you know, doing some nice damage to, so that's really, really good. But as you can see, just as predicted, in the front line here, we have actually, you know, taken out a lot of the Skeleton Warriors. However, you know, look at these Giant Slayers. They are down to 19 models left and have, you know, traded really badly against these, you know, Skeleton Spearmen. But you've got to do what you've got to do. These miners are taking some Skeleton Warriors on, which is interesting. I've got Ungren Iron Fist in there. We do have a Shabbaty summon here very early on by my opponent, which is very odd. Obviously, I'm doing a lot of early damage to him. And basically, at this point, I'm like, okay, run. You know, let's bring Ungren Iron Fist over, because Ungren Iron Fist can do some serious nice damage to these of Shabbaty, you know, Greatbows. I do believe I, you know, buff Deadly Onslaught here, and I do use Foe Seeker to get them in quickly. I do actually turn the Bugman's Rangers to fight, because of course they do have regen, so they are be able to put in a little bit of work. However, Queen Khalida over here is in a bad spot. she is fighting against Giant Slayers, and Giant Slayers do a lot of damage. As I say, they are designed to kill anything big. She does use one of her abilities here to get out of there very, very quickly, and Slayers are chasing her down with their lovely ginger hair and ginger beards here. And I decided to bring the Giant Slayers back because what I noticed is my opponent's Tomb Scorpion had just come into the fight and started chasing down my Bugman's Rangers. I do believe I use a Rune of Wrath and Ruin here to slow them down, but the Giant Slayers are coming over as slow as they are to try and help out. These are Shabbaties here, and Bugman's Ragers are fighting, each other with some Spearmen in there and Ungrim Iron Fist. The Rune Smith, though, is providing a Rune of Oath and Steel, giving some armor to some nearby troops, which is actually really good when you think about it to these Bugman Rangers. Don't have a lot of armor, and the same to these minus of blasting charges, putting up their armor even more. The Tomb Scorpion is coming in, but you see the thing is, Ungrim Iron Fist, he's hungry. Axe of Dargo goes down, Red Ruin, Runification, and look how much damage one swing will do. Just watch this. Let's see when Ungrim Iron Fist hits. Come on. One hit. Look how much health that did. Holy shit. We've got the Giant Slayers in here as well. And you see, this Tomb Scorpion has completely been shut down by just a couple of, Giant Slayers and Ungrim Iron Fist, which is absolutely insane. Over here, we do get a nice catch, though. Some Slayers have finally caught up with these Chosen of the Gods, and they are forced to attack. And Slayers, they're going to be able to clean up these guys really nicely for me, which is really good. As I say, we've got the last of the Gyrocopters here coming back in, and I was trying to shoot at Queen Khalida, I believe, wherever she is. I think she's over here in this little spot here. So Queen Khalida cleaning up some miners and Slayers in the back line here. So we do send the Gyrocopters over to try and get some damage on her. But as you can see, Banter Power does start to go into my favour. It has been in my opponent's favour, for quite a bit of this game. But we are taking out this Tomb Scorpion. We do use another Rune of Wrath and Ruin on these, Skeleton Spearmen here. Oh god, whoa, what the hell is going on with that dwarf there? But the Scorpion does die, which is really good. These Slayers, of course, are celebrating here, chucking around their axes, which is really, really nice. But basically, we're doing okay. We're taking out these Skeleton Spearmen, which is good. We're clearing up the front line. We do have a couple of miners routing back. The Gyrocopter does come back. But as I say, pretty much all my opponents got left now is a couple of Skeleton Spearmen, these Skeleton Archers, and Queen Khalida. So basically what I do now is I get the Bugman's Rangers back online and I start shooting into Queen Khalida, because Queen Khalida, I mean, she has regen because of the Tomb King's ability, but she doesn't have her own regen, so any damage we do is going to be permanent. She does use her, which ability is that? I think it's her Venom Wave, yeah, her Venom Wave ability, which does get her out of combat, which is very, very nice. But we are still chasing her down. We are trying to get on her, but as I say, Queen Khalida is very fast on that little, I can't remember what these guys are called. They're like little wormy things, little snake things, but she's very, very quick. But unfortunately, in my opinion, my opponent should have been trying to take out my Rune Smith with Queen Khalida. She would have been really, really good at taking out a Rune Smith with that duelist ability. But unfortunately now, she just decides to he decides to use Queen Khalida as more of a skirmish cav here. Sort of rear charging on miners and stuff like that. But I'm going to speed this up just a tad here because, as I said, I'm sure this video is getting quite long now. But Queen Khalida is going around taking out whatever she can here, odd little bit of some miners here, the odd little bit of, miners with blasting charges and stuff like that, and some Slayers that are still alive over here. I've got like 5 Slayers left. But basically, over here, we are clearing up some Scorpion here, some Scorpion Legions here with the Runesmith, and we've got, we've got Ungrim Iron Fist here, 2 Giant Slayers and Queen Khalida, and the Runesmith here. And basically, that's all we've got left. He is going for the miners over here, which, basically, if I pop all of Ungrim Iron Fist's buffs here, and we get a catch on Queen Khalida, she is going to die very fast. But we do engage here on the Skeleton Archers here. We do use our last Rune of Wrath and Ruin here. Giant Slayers do get in, but completely get torn to shreds by Queen Khalida's, scary snake monster. And basically now, all we have left is pretty much, Ungrim Iron Fist, which is unbreakable, which is really good. And we have the Rune Smith. Of course, the Rune of Oath and Steel and Rune of Negation does go down. So basically, my opponent starts the cycle charging here. But I buff all of, Ungrim Iron Fist's abilities here. So basically, if I get one charge on Queen Khalida right now, it's going to be the end of her. We do sort of get staggered a little bit here, but Ungrim Iron Fist is looking for a hit, but doesn't quite get it. We are charging in, but my opponent does back out once again. Pretty scary stuff here. But, as I say, my opponent comes back in. Ungrim Iron Fist is going in for that charge, and one hit takes about 400 HP off her. And she does eventually start to crumble here, which is very, very bad. We do use the Hammer of Karak, or whatever it's called, on her. And she does shatter and fall to the air. And the Runesmith celebrates with his little arms cheering in the air, which is very beautiful. But thank you very much for watching. Very well played to my opponent, both games. I think, of course, I was trying something different. I obviously just, played something that you maybe weren't expecting. But that's what Total War is. You learn from your mistakes. You'll know next time, what is better to bring and stuff like that. I've done it myself. But anyway, thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the 2 games, and I'll see you guys next time.